Hey gang, Chris from Metal and Earth again. Continuing with our chicken 101, we're going to do stock making today. So last episode we broke down our chicken. We have our chicken in our parts right here. So we've got our boneless skin on chicken breasts. We've got our legs with the bone in, so we got our thigh and our drumstick attached. We've got our fat and extra skin set aside to make schmaltz. We've got our wings here, and then we've got our carcass. So what we're going to do is we're going to get set to make stock. So out of that one chicken, we're going to get 3 different things. So today we're going to do stock. So we've got our meat for eating. Now we're going to make some stock for soup or for cooking. So we're going to take our carcass and leave it as is. Our wings here, a couple different things. If we pull it apart, we got 3 parts to the wing. So we've got kind of the little mini drummy, we've got the meaty part, and then we've got the little tip. If you like chicken wings, by all means just cut this tip off. And basically there's a little joint right here, and you can just put your knife, if you have a nice sharp knife, and cut through that. And this little tip is going to be what we use for our stock, so we'll just put that in our cavity. If you like wings, you can keep this. You can cut it through the joint here. Again, you can see, kind of right where the joint is, right through here. Put your knife there, nice sharp knife. Cut through. Now we've got our chicken wings we can trim up. I'm going to use my wings for stock. I like the meat in there for flavor, and to have 4 chicken wings just isn't enough for me. So, but by all means, if you buy a lot of chicken, put these in the freezer, and in a week or 2 you'll have enough chicken wings to have a Super Bowl party. So I'm just going to put all these together. You can leave this whole if you're going to use it for stock. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to get our stock pot here. And I don't know, this isn't too big. This is I don't know, this is probably about a 10 quart. You can get by with maybe a 6 quart or an 8 quart. But we're just going to put our carcass in there with our wings. And then we've got some vegetables here. And these are really just scraps that I had, kind of the end of celery that you're always like, well, what am I going to do with that? Well, now you know. I'm just going to cut the end off of here, throw that away. I just break it up. We're not in the French restaurant where we have to cut everything nice and brunoise our vegetables. So I've got an old hunk of onion left over from breakfast or last night. I'm literally going to break it with my hand. It's that simple. Some good carrots, local carrots. I just wash them. I didn't even peel them. Just scrub them. Again, just break them with your hand. Don't even need knife skills here. And I just have some peppercorns. I have about 4 or 5 peppercorns. Throw those in there. That's really the basic stock. If you want to get fancy and add some garlic cloves, some green onions, you could add some different herbs to that, some thyme, bay leaf. But this is basic stock. This is your basic chicken stock. We got nice, carcass with some meat on it from our chicken, some fresh vegetables, and then we're just going to add our water. I've got actually 8 cups, 2 quarts. It really should just cover the carcass. So this is just a small stock. We're just going to pour this. This is just filtered water. And it should just cover that carcass. If it doesn't, just add a little bit more. And I'm just going to add a little bit more. So this will be a total of probably about 10 cups. Just enough to cover that carcass. And you can see if I push down, it just barely covers it. I might put a little more in there. There we go. So that's our stock. We're going to pop this on our stove. We're going to bring it to a simmer. And then we'll take the next step. Alright, so our stock has been on kind of a medium to medium-high heat until it came to a boil. We turn it down. You can see there's a lot of kind of foam and scum that comes to the top. And we're just going to get in with our ladle and skim that off because those are all the impurities coming out of the vegetables and the meat, some of the blood that renders out. We just want to skim that off just so we have a nice, clean, clear stock. You'll get a little liquid with it. That's okay. But get in as far as you can. Get as much of it as you can. You don't have to be crazy, but because we're also going to strain this, but we just want to make sure we have a nice kind of clean broth. So once you get that kind of skim, we're going to turn it down pretty low, just to a simmer. You should have just some light bubbles coming up, kind of how you see it now, with just some bubbles coming in different areas. And we're going to let that go anywhere from an hour to 3 hours, depending on how rich you want the stock. It'll actually reduce, so the more you cook it, the more it's going to reduce, the more intense it's going to be. If you just want a quick kind of soup stock, simmer it for about 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to go for probably about 2 hours. So we're back with our stock. You can see our stock. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of reduced a little bit here. I'll see if I can get the camera back far enough. But it's reduced probably about a half an inch here. You can see just by the mark of how far the water is reduced. And you can see that the chicken carcass body is out of the water. So at this point, we could pull it off right now and have a really light basic stock. But if we want to pull as much out of this chicken carcass as possible, I'm actually going to top that off with another 2 to 3 cups of water, of filtered water, and just let it go. I'm going to let my stock go for probably about 4 hours today, just to get it really, really rich and full of nutrients. It is winter time. Summertime I might stop it here for a light soup, but we're going to let it go for probably another 3 hours or so. Okay. All right, so our stock is done. Ours has been about 3 hours or so, and you can see hopefully you can see that. It's a nice golden kind of color. It's really thick. There's some oil spots on the top. You can see the meat is really soft and cooked, and all the vegetables are cooked. So basically what we're going to do, just in a sink, I've just got a stainless steel bowl here. Make sure it's big enough for your stock, and then a fine mesh strainer. You can use the finest one you have. If you just have a colander, that's fine. You can strain it out again later, but you can also line this with cheesecloth if you want it to be really fine. But I've got a pretty fine strainer here. We're just going to strain that right into our bowl carefully. Make sure it fits. Get that in there. And the rest of the stuff can be just tossed. Some of the bones, some people say that you can feed to dogs because they're real soft and cooked down. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if you want to pick through that, you certainly could do that. There's our stuff, and there is our beautiful stock. And we're just going to let that cool a little bit for a couple minutes, and then we're actually going to put it in Tupperware containers and freeze it, or you could make soup right away out of that. Or you could just have it like that, add a little sea salt, and away you go. That's Chicken Stock 101.